An organization that received millions of dollars to house and shelter homeless people in San Francisco will be blocked from future city contracts. It's the latest chapter in an investigation our media partner, the San Francisco Standard, has been following. An scathing audit of the United Council of Human Services. Joining us live now with more on this is the Standard senior reporter, Josh Kane. Josh, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so what is this organization supposed to do? What's its mission and scope?
Yeah, so United Council of Human Services provides a range of services. They operate a shelter site at Pier 94. They serve meals for needy people in the Bayview. It's all located in the Bayview district of San Francisco. And they also run permanent housing and supportive housing and shelters for people who are formerly homeless.
Okay, so what did this audit find? Who conducted it, and what did they find exactly? What were the alleged wrongdoings?
Yeah, so late last year, the Controller's Office conducted an audit of the United Council of Human Services, and in that audit, they basically found that there are numerous violations of city rules on how people are being processed into shelters and housing. On top of that, it found that certain people were getting maybe preferential treatment that shouldn't have been put there, and that it also had instances where they thought there might have been financial mismanagement to the level that they actually referred the organization to the FBI and the district attorney's office for criminal investigations.
Can you give me one example of mismanagement of money and one example of preferential treatment or nepotism?
Yeah, so basically it found, the controller's audit found that people were not going through the proper protocol for the coordinated entry system, which is what the city designed to make sure that it is tracking people and getting them off the streets in a very coordinated way because there's so many different departments. I actually spoke with the CEO of United Council of Human Services after the audit, and she told me that basically she has been giving shelters at Pier 94 to roughly 20 of her family members, friends, and employees. So obviously that raised some concerns about whether or not that was preferential treatment on placement. When it comes to financial mismanagement, there was a range of issues of missing receipts and paperwork for the audit. However, I went a step further and I talked to professional tax attorneys and we reviewed the IRS filings for the organization. And these tax attorneys basically told me these are huge red flags and whoever would have compiled these IRS filings is incompetent because of the level of or lack of detail within the reports.
All right, I see. So what happens now?
So basically what happens now is that according to documents that I reviewed and then followed up with city officials for the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, what happens now is that United Council of Human Services is not going to get any contracts going forward. Through our reporting, we found that the organization which received money through an intermediary was one of 140 organizations the city gives money to, nonprofits, that were actually suspended, revoked, or tagged as delinquent by the state. If you're under one of those classifications, you're actually legally not allowed to receive money as a nonprofit. So because of that reporting that we did, the city then issued new guidance to departments, making sure that nonprofits have to check the boxes and make sure they're eligible. The Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing found that because United Council of Human Services couldn't get its act together, couldn't file its paperwork in the proper way, and because of all these red flags, they are no longer going to give contracts to the organization for shelters and supportive housing, which racks up to about $10 million for the next fiscal year.
Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. What does this mean overall? I mean, in terms of the city's work, very pressing, urgent work, right, to house unsheltered people. And just, I know this is also not the only nonprofit first one that's really encountered these situations. You've been reporting on a lot of them. I mean, taken together, what does this mean, Josh?
Yeah, I appreciate that because sometimes I get really into the details. But at a larger kind of 30,000 foot view, what this means is the city's actually getting a bit more aggressive in making sure that taxpayer money is going to organizations that are meeting their obligations in being good stewards of public funds and making sure they're also carrying out their mission in getting objectives achieved. Through our reporting, we've really tried to put a microscope on nonprofits, which receive over $1 billion from the city to carry out a range of different services. But a lot of times they've been essentially kind of been given a free pass. If they don't meet their objectives, okay, maybe next year. If you mismanage some money here, okay, it's all right. We'll have another budget cycle. I think San Francisco is starting to, look a little bit more inward because of the scrutiny that our publication, yourself and others have been putting on them, and basically saying we're going to have to do better in using these funds to get better results.
All right, Josh Kane, always appreciate talking to you. Thank you so much.